So many different possibilities with this tree. Today we're going to look closer at this little Ficus bonsai that I still have in a shallow training pot. The plan for today is not to repot. I think it's a bit too late in the year for it, and I don't want to stress the tree too much after getting it into my home. What we're actually going to do is look at the foliage, give it a haircut, and definitely also start with styling it. So we're going to do a lot of wiring on this tree today. So I would say let's start right away with that. So I do love the overall look of the tree. Just to give you an idea of how it looks, you can see a lot of healthy, nice green foliage. A lot of branches actually on this tree. You can see it was actually cut back here. So the way they grow them commercially is actually, you have it grown tall, 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 and then you cut back part of the major stems here. And then of course you have a lot of new branches coming out from this point. But what we're going to do today is look at those branches and see how we can wire them in the best way. So let's first decide on the actual front of the tree that we're going to have in the future. What I definitely want to show is this little side branch here. So this one little thing here. So it's either this side here or it's going to be this side here. And I think I actually prefer this side because we have this leaning forward a bit of the tree. So it's definitely more inviting for the viewer, I would say. However, what we do have on this side, of course, is this branch here that is in the way. So the first thing that we're actually going to do is take out this branch. Just going to get my branch cutter and go as close as possible in here, and we take out the branch. Of course, again, we're going to have a lot of nice cuttings here today. This one, for example, already great size for cutting. I probably will try to propagate this in water later on. So we have cleared up this basis, and I think this naturally already gives us an idea on a potential root for this tree, and that is a side branch here, potentially. Maybe even bringing that one a bit back. And also here having a side branch. I think this one especially, we can get a very nice leaning effect because we do have this branch, this prior branch here to work with. So I would say we definitely bring this one down. And this one, I'm not sure yet if we bring it down because we almost have them at the same height. I'm not sure if I want to bring this one down as well. Here you can see actually we have a dead branch, so let me take that one out before we start. So here there is no growth. You can hear how brittle it actually is, so I would have been able to just take it off like this. But let's start with the wiring. So let me prepare some wire. And see, I have an already cut piece here that I have had on a previous tree. I do like to reuse my wire because why not? It's always good to save resources. I think the length should actually be fine for this tree. But how do we wire this now? I would say we wired this one potentially already with this branch here on the other side. And even if we don't bend it too drastically, it will still create a nice hook, I would think. And we can actually improve that hook maybe if we come here from the back. So we come here from the back. We go once around here and then start to closely wrap this branch with the wire. Of course, ficus I always find quite easy to wire because in many cases they don't have too much foliage at the lower parts of the branch, which of course makes it quite nicely. If we look at that, this is already with the hook creating a nice hold on the tree actually. And now the more important thing, of course, is this branch here. Now we already should decide if we keep, but we will look at that in a second. Let's not get too fast. Let's take our time with this tree, I would say. So I'm trying to wrap this around as tight as possible again here, creating a nice hook. And then simply going around this branch a couple of times to really make sure we get enough stability on it to in the future work on it and really have a band that holds. So once again here, I think we're going above this branch. So let me just adjust the wire. And here we can also one more time go. And really bring this wire around to parts where the branch is still green actually, so. And now for the bend, I'm trying to fixate the tree here and then just give it a nice bend, create some movement while doing the bend, spreading out the tree, creating a bit more of a pad here. I do like that this one naturally already then comes off from the other side of the branch. We're gonna, of course, still cut back those branches then, but for the beginning, that already opens the tree up nicely. We're also probably still gonna do something up here. We will look at that in a second. Here we have some dead branching, but before we come to that, this side now is a question. Do we want to create a side branch here or not? So just to give you an idea, if we create a side branch, it would look something like this. And I think it could fill in here quite nicely again. So the tree does still have enough branches to actually create like a nice looking tree here. But the decision has to be made, of course. Because right now, I find it a bit too long, this one actually, for a side branch. This one we can still argue, we can cut back, we can see how it will look like. But this one I find a bit too bare at this part here. I'm not sure we'll get growth from that far back if we trim back the tree. But it is worth a try, I would say. Because I do like the balance it gives the tree. So we can already, of course, one trick to reduce the height is give this a bit more of a bend. So that already brings it way closer to the rest of the tree, as you can see. We did the same thing here, even though we can do it still a bit more prominently here, I would say. Bringing this back and then further here again, creating also a nice pad. And a bit upward, even though that growth will go upwards anyway in the future. What do we do with all this stuff here? That is still a big question in my opinion. Let's take a look at it. I find it a bit too crowded, but I also don't want to take out too much here. So what we're actually going to do is simply also spread out part of this, I would say. So definitely this behind one here, we can also put to the back. Here you can see this is the dead branch we have mentioned before. So we again go in here and take this out, already cleans up that space. And then we can see, once we actually take this one out, we will see if we take this one and put it more into the back a little bit, that the natural movement of the tree and the natural apex will more be on this side, I would say. And then we can still see if maybe we take one or the other branch out here or put it a bit down. But I think for now I would leave the rest of these ones on. Just let the tree grow, be healthy, and then we will see how it will actually turn out. So how do we wire this one? I would rather look at it from the back, and maybe we wire it to a potential additional side branch down here. One of the two, we might actually wire those two together down. Just bring it a little bit down in height. I wouldn't actually go directly in this direction, but I would just wire it down and then upwards, just to create, to fill in this area here, to show you also from the front, to basically have it then basically down here, just really filling it the back of the tree. Because of course, as we took back the side branches, it looks a bit bare right here, right now. So I think that is what we're gonna do. So we wire those two together and we, two branch principle, link it to this one here, where we'll do something similar, I think. So easier said than done. Let me see if the wire that I have here has the right size and length, but I think it should be fine actually if you look at it. So it should reach all the trees, all the branches on the tree that we need to reach, and then we can continue from there. So let's go in from This part here, I would first start actually with this branches, because it's two branches, so we start with those two branches here. I have never tried really wiring two branches together like this before. I do actually hope that in the future they might fuse together if we tie them quite closely together, but I'm not quite sure yet if that is actually gonna turn out the way as I'm intending right now. We just need a good grip on this at the moment, so we can continue with this branch here that we said we also want to look at. So how do we hook this best? I would again basically go around it once before really starting to go up the tree. Give it this hook, this nice stability that we're gonna need for bending, and then just work my way up this branch. So let's come from this side because I think I have a better view. Here we can simply decide on which branch we want to fixate it. I would rather opt for the lower one because it then leaves the higher one with more freedom to still grow in any direction that it naturally would do so. So, and that's all the bend that we need. And now the more important thing is how do we bend this to actually fill out the back here? It already does it this way a little bit, but I think we can actually try something a bit more creative here and really give it like a little bend down here and still have the foliage grow upwards then. And the same thing probably here. So we really bring this down and sit it here in the back, just creating a different level of the tree. We have two overlapping branches here. The question is, do we need this one? I think yes, because it fills out this area here quite nicely. However, we might be able to actually bring this part of this branch still a little bit down here to fill this one out. And then we would be actually able to take out this branch because it is completely in parallel with the other one, and I think it clutters it up a little too much. So I would take this one out and done as I said. And then we have a look at how this tree looks like. So we have this as a potential new leader here in the front. Of course, we're gonna let this grow out as much as possible because we definitely need to thicken it a little bit. Otherwise the taper of the tree doesn't look too well. We have here a little side branch that we, as we said, we will shorten now, and then we will actually see how it looks like. So what we're gonna do now is really give it a shape. So by simply cutting back the leaves. So I'm going in and cutting this back actually to one leaf. Here we have stuff growing downwards that we don't need. So I'm gonna cut this out. On this side branch we have a lot of leaves, so we can also definitely go in here and take out a lot of the growth that has formed on this tree. Especially here on this branch where we have a lot of bigger growth that probably has appeared after it was shipped. And it was rather in a dark area then, I guess, probably in the box store. We can take out this lower branch, so that already decreases the length of these side branches, and I think it makes it look way more fitting to the overall design of the tree. And then we of course still want to achieve a more triangular looking shape on this tree, so we also simply go and see where we have to take out growth to achieve this shape. In the top I don't want to take out too much, as I said, I really want to see if we can grow this simply a bit thicker here, but in the back we can still work a bit, just tip pruning where we see fit. I think we actually should cut back one of the leaders so it focuses on the other side. However, which one is still a bit an open question for me at the moment. Probably we'll still bend this in the future, really spread out also here then the growth, and even start a bit further down, also giving this some movement, I guess. But for now, I think I'm actually preferring this side here. So I'm just taking out the tips from this side. And there you have it. Here we will also in the future, once it goes a bit thicker, we will grow this more in this direction to fill out the space here a little bit better still, because you can see it is a little bit bare still at the moment here. Here we have a huge leaf still that we should definitely take out. I think I don't want to go in too harshly on this tree today. We did wire it. We did change the shape of the tree quite considerably. This one we definitely at a later point will also still wire a little bit, bend it back here. Why not do it right now actually? As we're already here, let's wire this one a little bit as well. So let me get some wire still. These are just like little cleaning up things that we're going to do now, but nevertheless, I would say they're still important, because what we try to do is set up the tree in a way that the growth that will happen on it simply is looking the way we intended it. I'm only having this size of wire right now, but I think it shouldn't be a problem either way. I'm not sure we can hook it to another branch here, which normally I would do, but maybe we just, let me see, do we have a stump here where we can fixate it a little bit? Let me see if I can actually get the wire in here and create a little hook, sort of adhering to the true branch principle. And then once around here, definitely once around here. And then we work our way up this branch. So we have wired it. Amber wiring actually already put it in a direction that I'm quite happy with. I'm again gonna get my scissors and take out the tip here, shorten it a little bit, giving it now a really nice triangular shape overall. The leader here also opened up here now. We don't have this parallel problem we had before, so we had this branch in parallel to the leader, which just looked a little bit unnatural. Now looking way more natural again. I'm really looking forward to seeing this tree fill in, really create a lot of new foliage, and see then how it fills in the back branches. If we're going to move them a little bit backwards, maybe then, but for now, really happy with the result of this tree. So there you have it. As you can see, we really changed the shape of the tree. A lot of foliage we took out. I also set aside 2 branches that I'm definitely going to try to propagate, because ficus, always good to propagate them. You cannot have enough ficus, I would say. But I'm really happy with the way it looks. As I said, I'm not going to repot it or anything until next spring. I'm just going to keep it in this little training plastic pot here. Gonna have a look at the foliage, hope a lot of new foliage still growing this end of the growth season, and bring it nicely over winter, and then repot it into a bonsai pot in the next year. So of course I will keep you updated on this tree, and hopefully we'll see you then in the next video. Until then, goodbye.